Alright, we are here with Grandpa. He's in the other room watching TV, and we're cooking his ribeye. Well, Anna is. She's cooking. She does the reverse searing around here, guys. I don't. Yeah, watch out, man. She'll reverse sear your ass. We're using the beef tallow from Hickory Road Farms, you guys. We're using a bunch of it. Look how many ribeyes we're cooking. Okay, guys, we got Great Grandpa Lee here. Now, just to talk a little carnivore, or food, right?
Yes.
You switched over to keto, right?
More or less, yes.
Yeah, you feel like you weren't really eating much, or?
I wasn't eating much, and I have a problem with one thing. I guess I do better with variety.
That's okay. And you guys,
but I stay in the guidelines of the keto.
Yeah.
Which are close to carnivore.
Carnivore. Yeah, I mean, we're in full support of Gramps, and yep, he's got a lap dog that's going to keep him comfort. That's my dog, Manny. Yeah, we're in full support, man, and he says he's feeling a little bit better on keto than he did on carnivore. So, keto it is, you guys. Give him a lot of support and show him that love. He's in ketosis, and he's feeling good. And we got, right now, my wife's in the other room doing a reverse sear on a ribeye for him, so it's going to be fun. Now, Gramps, where did you grow up? Always in Wisconsin?
Shawano, Wisconsin. Born and raised there. And when I got out of high school, I went in the service for 3 years. When I got out of the service, I came to Milwaukee. And I stuck around here ever since.
When you were in the service, you did get to stand on Hitler's podium, right?
Yeah, I stood on his podium. I was to the Eagle's Nest where he lived. That was a place on the border of Austria and Germany, because Hitler actually was Austrian, and it was said that he liked to sit up and look out the window and they could see Austria.
I tell you, that's some history right there.
We were there in occupation, so at that time the war was more or less over there, and we just had to make sure it didn't flame up again.
Made sure the fire was out, right?
When we were over there, we took over one of Hitler's, what they called casernes. They were barracks. We call them barracks. It was like a horseshoe, and I think there was 7 miles of hallway in it. You never had to go outside really for anything.
Wow. Whoa, you guys, look at this. Grandpa's ribeye just got done. Look at that. Wow. Can you get him some salt?
Yes, I did salt it.
You gotta do something.
I did salt it, so maybe taste
need?
it before you salt it.
Gotta make it in thirds. I don't know that.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to we each get a little.
That's a big ribeye, isn't it?
Pardon?
That's a big ribeye I got you, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, close the door so we can do our interview and just hang out.
Okay.
What we do is we cut them in strips like this, and then we salt them once they're cut a little bit. Now, how old were you when you joined the service, Gramps?
No, I was right out of high school. I think I was 19.
19.
Right.
And when did you meet Grandma? Wait, first of all, how long were you married to Grandma?
I gotta think on that.
At least 60-something years, right?
Yeah, I think it was 64.
I thought it was 65, but it was up there. It was quite a bit.
65.
65 years he was married to my grandmother. She passed away in 2015, but, you know, she's spirit, so she's floating around somewhere, and she didn't go nowhere, but when did you guys meet? Wasn't it grade school or something?
Actually, high school.
Oh, high school, okay.
Grade school, I don't believe she lived in Shawano. I think she lived in a little town, and I can't even think of the name of it. But I met her in high school.
And she, When did you guys start dating?
Oh, like a freshman.
Oh, as freshmen? Did you guys ever break up or did you guys stay together?
No, more or less stayed together.
Oh, that's so cute.
Actually, it was off and on when in high school, but then when I got out of the service, then we started going steady.
She was still hanging around the service?
Yeah, she was still hanging around.
Now, you guys have 2 kids, my Aunt Dawn and my mother. Where did you guys have, was that in Shawano where you guys started the family?
No, that was in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee?
We actually never lived in Shawano.
Oh, no, really?
No. It's, we always lived in Milwaukee. We came down here, well, actually, I got a job when I came out of service. A friend of my wife, then Pat, got me a job with a water conditioning company. And I stayed with them for 20 years.
And then you ended up developing your own water product, right? A flow controller.
Well, actually, after 20 years, the whole group of us in the industrial department quit because it was bought up by Calgon, and Calgon was going to move it to St. Louis, but they wouldn't say who was going to go along. So we all got together and we decided, and the whole department walked out one day, and we started our own company.
I think you called it an Independence Day, right?
Yeah, right.
Hey, you guys became independent and said, "Fine, if you're not going to tell us, we'll quit our job and we'll work ourselves."
But it was a very bad time to do it because everything was kind of rationed, and particularly the major part of a piece of equipment is resin, and resin was rationed, and you could buy resin based on what you had bought before, a percentage of, and so it kind of put a bind on us. We couldn't get the material to make the equipment.
To make money.
Right.
Oh,
So finally we wound up, after about a year, we gave the company away to a company who said they would take it over and keep all of us and employ us. And we did that, and it turned out very well. I wound up managing the company for about 17 years. We had a lawsuit at that time, which was kind of severe. We were being sued for a man lost his eyesight because he didn't follow instructions, and he sprayed acid in his eye, and it looked like we were going to lose. The insurance company settled with him and gave him $750,000. But our company got kind of scared then, and because they had a very profitable and good, stable chemical company, which they had for years. So we got sold at that time.
try this out. There's a fork. Eat as much as you want. We're all going to split it up.
Excellent.
Thanks. Glad you like it. Here, I'll grab some napkins.
Eat.
Very good. Ooh, I'll take this long strip.
I'm trying to think of
You
food.
lost your hat.
Oh,
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. No problem.
now, Gramps, you had some horses in your day, right?
Yeah, we had about 6 of them.
6 horses. What was your favorite horse's name?
Slick.
Slick. What was your favorite thing about Slick?
Slick is he came out of auction and I bought him, and that was the most intelligent quarter horse. And I wish I could have pulled everything out that he knew, but you never do that. But he was just an excellent horse.
Oh, so you think he knew more tricks and stuff than you knew the
Right.
commands for?
Right.
Wow. What color was he?
Chestnut.
Chestnut. Wow.
Chestnut with 2 white legs.
Wow.
Stockings.
Stockings. That's fun. Yeah, eat up. Don't
And
be
he
shy.
started out with a Shetland pony.
A Shetland pony? What is that? Just one of those mini ponies?
Yeah, just pony. It's, they're about that high.
That's cute. Yeah, he loves horses, and you guys, my dog, you might hear my dogs in the background. We've got the ribeye, and they are just fiending for the ribeye.
And
Yeah, we'll just keep it relaxed here. We'll eat, we'll talk. It's not like going on Larry King, you know.
you know, that's what reminded me of you when you wear the cap and the glasses, Larry King.
Well, I take that as a compliment because he was actually a very good interviewer.
Yeah.
And people watched the Larry King show, Larry King Live, for years, man.
He's still on.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Go play the replays?
He does a commercial for somebody.
Is he still alive?
No.
No? So they
No.
just keep doing replays, huh?
Yeah, he's been dead for about 3 years.
Yeah, I remember he was like the most popular thing on CNN for years. People tuned in to CNN just to see Larry King live. How is it?
Good.
It is good, isn't it? So when did you develop the flow controller?
That that was when they sold the company. Like I was saying, they feared that they were going to be subject to some other lawsuits or something. And they got a little shaky, so they decided to sell the company. And they sold it to a guy named David G. Nancaro. And he was from California. And eventually he in turn sold it to Culligan. So he was a young, not too old of a guy, but he owned quite a few drive-ins, like 40 drive-ins out that way on the west. And he bought up about 5 or 6 different water conditioning companies, so it was something I didn't want to work for. So when that sale took place, I quit, and I decided to make some flow controllers and eductors, or injectors, whatever you used to call them.
And a flow controller, you guys, it's like a little round device that controls the gallons per minute. You know, how if in a car they have miles per hour. Well, my gramps invented a device that can control the water speed, and it's gallons per minute.
Right.
And we made a lot of flow controllers in our day, a bunch of them. I used to work with my grandpa for, I don't know, a bunch of years since, I think I first started working with you when I was in grade school.
Yeah. I had to come pick you up.
Yeah, it was like 2002, maybe 2001. So, let's see, and I quit, what year was that? I quit 21, so. Yeah, so I worked for my gramps for at least 18, 20 years, for quite a long time. And now back to when you were a kid. Let's go back to when you were a kid. What type of jobs did you have growing up?
Well, well, let's see. I didn't do much before I hit high school. Grade school, I didn't. Oh, I delivered papers and things like that.
I know you said you used to shovel the horse manure for like a golf.
Well, I didn't get to that until I was in high school.
Oh, really?
No, I used to deliver papers. And I'd help a guy that used to deliver coal. We had because coal was the number one source of heat in those days. And we had to shovel it on the truck and deliver it, and then shovel it off the truck. And we handled it about 3 different times. And I did that for a while. And then I used to do some cleaning in the theaters. That was about all until I got to high school. And when I was in high school, the first year I started at a riding academy in the summer. So
For horses?
Yeah. As soon as I got out of school, I went to live at the riding academy.
Is that where you got a love for horses?
Oh, I always liked horses.
Did your parents have horses when you were young? How did you get around horses?
I don't know what that in. I just
You just liked them, huh?
thought it'd be a good job.
Ah, that's cool.
And we lived right at the stable when we worked there all summer. And we harvested the hay for the horses and the whole bit. And they get up at 4 in the morning and get done at about 9, 10 at night. But we loved it and it didn't bother us.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's fun to go back and to think and remember what we used to do and all that fun stuff. Guys, we're tearing through our ribeye here. You can't see it. It's just right underneath the camera, but we are just tearing through our ribeye here. That salt on there tastes good, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Don't Anna eat none?
She's got a hair appointment.
Oh.
She's next store getting her hair cut. She's got her own ribeye she's going to cook when she gets back. She's going to eat one of these herself. You're on Carnivore, you can eat a lot of food.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, when did you start wearing suspenders? Because you've always, as far as I know, you've always been wearing suspenders.
Tell you the truth, I don't remember.
Really?
Been so long ago, I just started wearing them and I just continued.
Just became something you did and something you do still. Yeah, people know him for his suspenders. He goes places and people like to snap his suspenders, which is fun. They get most of the ladies get a kick out of his suspenders. The ladies think the suspenders are real cute. No matter what size of guy you are, if you're little, big, they love the suspenders. So fellas, man, if you're not getting enough action, put some suspenders on.
Right.
And the ladies are just going to eat it up. Yeah, and you've had all these different jobs, and then you did the service, and then it's just it's a lot of different stuff. And would you say that when you were a kid, did you guys get in a lot of trouble? Like, what did you guys do for fun as a kid? Because I remember you used to tell me you used to take the tubing out of the tires and make slingshots and stuff, right? For fun.
Oh yeah, that was one of the things, and then we would take the wheels off of our wagons, and you'd get some lath. Lath is a piece of wood and it's about 3 feet long, and it's about a 1/4 inch thick and about a little better than an inch wide. And it was a common piece of lumber used in those days. And then we'd make a little cross on the bottom, and then we'd let you'd hold this cross down, the short part being on the concrete or wherever you were, asphalt. And then we let this wheel run down there, and then we follow the wheel around all over. Great sport.
That sounds fun.
And then we take the wagons. See, they were no fun no more. So we take the wheels off the wagons, and we get a wide board, by maybe about 4 feet long, and then we get a piece of axle someplace and nail that on the back, and then we nail another cross piece on the front with the 2 wheels, and then we put a bolt through it in the middle, and then we had 2 strips. We would put 2 strips alongside, and then we'd steer it that way, back and forth.
Did you grow up with the TV or the radio?
Radio.
Radio?
Yeah, or there was no TV didn't come about in my recollection until it was very limited, I think, in about 46. And then it just picked up a little bit here and there.
Another job you didn't mention is that you used to fix TVs.
Oh yeah, that was a part-time job. At night when I get done with work, I go around to all the business places that sold TVs, ask them if they had any old TVs that we want to get rid of, and I'd buy them, and then I'd fix them and resell them. And
Wouldn't you resell them in the paper, I think you said? You put an ad in the paper?
yeah, put an ad in the paper when I had some done, and I was so proud of it. And a friend of mine came over, and I says, I sold 7 TVs. He says, you know what? He says, you sold them too cheap.
Oh, well, thank you for encouraging me, right?
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's knocked the wind out of my sails.
I'm going to show them the cowboy boots so we can talk some more cows and
Yeah.
horses and stuff. You guys, when I was little, my gramps and my grandma, they used to take us to the rodeo. And these were my little tiny rodeo boots from when I was little. And they upped the price on the rodeo, and then the rodeo said, we're not coming back. So the local state fair ruined our rodeo, but we used to go to a lot of rodeos as a family, right?
Mm-hmm. Every year.
Yeah, every year we'd go to the rodeo, and there was this clown. He was so fun. He was like a comedic clown, like a rodeo clown. And he would try to use this lasso whip, and he would actually end up whipping himself in the ass, and then his pants would fall down. It was, I thought it was just to me, it was the best part of the show. I love that. It's a fun memory I have with them. And now, Grandma, did she ever work, or were you the provider the most of the time?
No, Grandma worked for until we had children.
Oh, okay.
Her uncle owned a restaurant.
Was it like
downtown.
a diner?
No, a regular diner, yeah. It served everything, and she was cashier there. And it was in Milwaukee, and it was 2 doors away from the Milwaukee Club. That was kind of a girly joint.
And your dad owned a bar?
No.
Or a liquor store? Or that was her dad?
Her dad was in all kinds of business. He had custard stands, and he made her run them. She didn't like that.
He'd take off, huh?
Yeah, he'd take off and smoke cigars, he said. And he had restaurants, he had a trucking company, and he had a pool hall. I can't even think of it anymore.
Now you mentioned smoking. Didn't you used to smoke for years, right?
Yeah, I smoked until 1977.
So how many years do you think you smoked?
No, from high school to 77. Well, I was 77,
Wow.
so that was from 15 to 77.
And what made you just want to quit cigarettes one day?
Well, I was getting to the point where had trouble making it up steps. I'd have to take a rest once in a while if I made a lot of steps. So I said, that's enough of that.
Would you get like short of breath?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, it was affecting your lungs probably. Yeah, you guys, you can get off cigarettes, you know. And you just stopped cold turkey, right? You just said that's enough.
Yeah, I just threw them away. That's the last day.
Yeah, because some people have a real hard time kicking cigarettes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very addictive.
And I always remembered you were just like, yeah, I just stopped it. No biggie. No biggie.
All right.
Did you guys do a lot of drinking in the service?
Yeah, I'd reckon so.
Yeah, that's some of the service members are notorious for being able to throw them back.
Yeah.
You know. Now, which one of the funnest stories you have from being in the service? I think there was one of the story you said the guy was riding you on a Jeep and he almost tipped you, right?
Oh, yeah. If you had rank, and I was sergeant, they wouldn't let you drive. You had to have a driver. And he was driving one day, and we were following a tank, a bunch of tanks, and he had one wheel in the tank rut. It was muddy ground that we were on. That thing was almost laying on its side, and every once in a while the wheels would come off the ground, and I couldn't tell him to slow down, though.
No, they're the service. They go hard.
Yeah.
And you said you had a buddy that could like photo read, right? He could read something and just remember it in the service, right?
Gottlieb Coleman. He could read a paperback in like 5 minutes.
And remember it.
Remember every bit that was in there. And he always said it was a curse because he didn't enjoy it, I guess. And we would go through with him even with the dictionary. He knew the dictionary word for word.
Wow. Guys like that are priceless, you know, like you don't find minds like that every day. What type of foods did you eat growing up? Did you eat like a lot of farm foods, like eggs, all that stuff? Or did you have a lot of the junk food like I did when I was little, hot dogs and pizza?
No, we had pretty much meals at home, and
Did your mom used to do most of the cooking or dad?
Mom.
Mom?
But,
What was her favorite thing to cook? Do you remember?
she made everything, and she was a very good cook. And
What was your favorite thing? Do you remember?
no, I don't think I had no favorites. She never worked. She was always at home, and she had a lot of medical problems, and a lot of times we had like a live-in nurse that would stay at our place.
And did you have any brothers or sisters growing up?
Nope.
Only kid, huh?
Only kid.
Only child. You guys, he got all the presents.
I got a.
What was your favorite holiday growing up? Was it Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving?
I guess it was Christmas. When they get all the good gifts.
Christmas. Yeah, and you guys, we do a yearly tradition where we go on a sleigh ride in Christmas time.
Right.
And we have the horses pull us on, what do they call them? Like a buggy or a wagon or...
Oh, sled.
Oh, sled. I'm sorry. Gramps knows all the terms.
It's on a sled, but if we don't have no snow, then they use a wagon.
Yes, if there's no snow, they have the horses pull a wagon with wheels, and then if there's enough snow, we can be on the sled like Santa Claus, and it's a fun ride. We go every year, and it's nice to see the horses and keep that tradition going. What was your first car you ever bought? Do you remember?
First one,
Yeah, first one you ever got, and when do you think it was?
1933 Pontiac, I think it was.
You guys, my gramps loves cars. He had a bunch of them. He's had a bunch of them over his time. What was your favorite one that sticks out to you that you bought and you're like, yeah, I really like that one. That one's like a toy.
I think that was the converted Eldorado Cadillac that was converted into a convertible. You buy them and then you take them down they send them down to Florida. There's a place they saw the top off and make it into a convertible.
I remember that one. That was a really nice looking car.
That was 1920. No, it was not 20. What the hell was it?
That was one of the newer ones like that. That was like a 2002, right? Or a
No, that was 2000.
2000.
And then I had a 79 too. I mean, not 79, 99.
99. Yeah, I remember you had the big old baby blue Cadillac that you drive around with Grandma, but Grandma didn't like that. My grandma had some back issues, so if it wasn't a smooth rider, she would let my gramps know, and that thing was gone. That was something about that. When did you take the like my mom and my aunt to like start being around the horses? Because I know they've got a lot of fond memories of riding horses and stuff.
I don't actually know.
Were they like 7, 10 years old when you started doing that?
I would say they're, yeah, somewhere in that range because I know Dawn was pretty small, and Melody, your mother, she never cottoned much to horses. She'd ride once in a while, but Dawn, she was on them all the time. So.
She was the horse whisperer, my aunt. Yeah, that and you guys started the family in like a trailer, right?
Yeah, we started out, we had a trailer on the south side of Milwaukee, and then we bought a house on the north side of Milwaukee, a block from where I worked. So I wore out one car traveling back and forth from the south side to the north side to go to work.
Now, I got to ask you about Wonder Woman. My gramps has always had a fascination with Wonder Woman. Ever since I can remember, when he even worked in the basement of his old place, there was a Wonder Woman photo down there. We had Wonder Woman photos in the news shop. When did you start watching Wonder Woman?
That used to be a program.
I think you mentioned too the genie one where she, and I am.
Yeah.
That was around that time too, right?
But Wonder Woman, she was on for years. I can't remember her name.
She's the iconic one, though. She's the one who put it on the map. I can't remember her name.
There's another imitation that came after her, but I call it an imitation.
There's a couple of them now. They've just made some newer movies, too. Yeah, but none of them are like the original girl. She was good.
Might have been Linda Carter.
Linda Carter. And you never watched many movies, right?
Never cared for them all that much.
The one movie I know you watched, me and you went to one movie in my life. It was the Crocodile Hunter, Crocodile Dundee.
Mm-hmm.
Not Crocodile Dundee. I'm sorry. Jeff Irwin, the Crocodile Hunter. He had put out his movie, and we went to see that. Me and my gramps, and that was fun. And it was like a couple years later, Jeff Irwin passed away because he got that stingray that stabbed him in his heart.
And he took it out. He shouldn't have.
He shouldn't have. Well, you panic. You know, you get scared, and you just... And then once you do it, it's done, you know?
Done.
Yeah, it's done. Yeah, so he didn't watch many movies. Did you ever go to the drive-in when you were young?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh,
I suppose you were kissing and stuff. That's why you didn't see many movies.
Oh, we used to go once in a while. And, when I was a kid, we used to, because it was, I think it was a dime to get in or something. We used to go to movies on Saturdays.
A dime to watch a movie?
Yeah.
Wow. You can't get anything for a dime now.
No. No, it was on, so we'd always go Saturday afternoon to the movies. To the matinee.
The matinee? What would you get at the movies? Ice cream, soda, popcorn, candy?
Popcorn, anything they had.
Anything to shove down the hatch.
Anything that we could eat.
What sports did you play in high school?
Me, none.
None?
I started out for football once and I lasted 2 days, I guess.
I didn't do sports either. I was going to, but then I decided to just work and make money. But I always had money in high school, and then these other kids were always broke because they were in sports.
But they were in sport.
But they could never have money for Buffalo Wild Wings.
No.
They would always ask me.
No, my neighbor, buddy of mine, he talked me into signing up for football, so I did. And but like I say, I lasted, I think, 2 days. Me and the coach didn't agree on a few things.
Yeah, he didn't have such a nice high school football coach. The guy was kind of a jerk. And then when did you move out of Milwaukee? Because you moved out here to Mequon, right? Deansville?
Out of Milwaukee? 2000.
I think that was we helped you move.
Been here 23 years.
Mm-hmm. Got moved out of Milwaukee to Thiensville and bought the house we're in right now, which is a duplex. It's and you always had the idea to buy properties that you could rent out, right?
Right.
Would you suggest that to people trying to get started out there?
I don't know. My opinion on that was it always made my payments, so I theoretically lived free and acquired some equity.
Yeah.
So it worked for me. It worked out. And if I had to do it again, I would do it again.
Now, everybody was asking me, too, one thing they wanted to know is, what were you eating before carnivore diet? Because they said you look great, and you're still alive, you're healthy, you're chugging. What's some of the foods that you did like to eat before keto and carnivore? I know you ate some liver once in a while.
Oh,
Liver sausage, I would see.
Everything. It's I never did really cater to steak because I guess I was too lazy to chew it. I wanted somebody to grind it up for me. So I had a lot of hamburgers and things of that nature. It's I always ate vegetables and drank milk and normal diet. Anything that was around that didn't move, nothing ever bothered me, or so I ate away.
I know you had a lot of corned beef hash. I've seen you order that a bunch of times at the restaurant.
Yeah.
corned beef hash you liked. I'm trying to think of some other stuff you would order a lot. I would watch you order the liver. That I would see.
I can't think. It's mashed potatoes. I always liked, of course.
Yeah, he's had some. Like, would you say? What was your biggest weight in your life? Would you say?
My biggest weight?
Yeah, what's what most you've ever weighed? You think?
Because 185.
185. Because you grew up a pretty skinny kid, right?
Yeah, I started out when I was on a stable. I'd maybe be 130 pounds, and by the time I got done there in the summer, I was down to 125.
Because you were throwing 100-pound bags probably
Yeah.
in a 130-pound frame.
So, yeah, I did that too. It was one of my first jobs when I worked in Milwaukee. I was all dressed up, going apply for a job, and they said, "You're hired." And says the truck's going over the rail yard over there. Get on the truck. So I was all dressed up. I got on a truck, and what I had to do was shovel. Two of us one would hold, and the other one would fill bags with gravel for water softeners, and 100-pound bags, and then we had to throw them on the truck. And we took them back to the plant and put them on the conveyor, put them up, take it upstairs. Then we'd have to go upstairs and move them back to the building.
Wow. Just clean this off because I got ribeye juice on there. You guys, we just about polished our ribeye here. How was the ribeye?
Ribeye was very good.
And he said he does like the Redmond's real salt.
That's good, yes.
Now, what's some advice you could give people that, see, now you're living by yourself. Like, if someone's going through a tough time, what helps you, Gramps, get through tough times?
Honestly, I can say I don't really have any. I mean, other than a few aches and pains, and then I try to ignore them.
Well, like, what about something like losing grandma? You know, like a...
Oh, that's tough. It's you spend that many years with somebody. It's a great loss. It's,
Lots of memories.
right.
Yeah, and we kind of beat ourselves up sometimes. We're like, well, maybe grandma would have done good on keto or carnivore, but we just didn't know about that diet at that time.
Right.
I wasn't aware of any of that stuff, so I couldn't recommend it to her. But hindsight's always 20/20. I tell people you're always going to look back and say, well, I could have done that, should have done that. Well, at the time when you're going through it, you can't really tell. You just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other and just keep living life, right?
Well, it's in my opinion, and my belief, it's when your time is there, because, as I told you, this fellow that bought the water conditioning company that I was working for, and when I quit, and he had all these businesses, and he was a young guy. He was maybe 55 years old at the time, and he'd eat his meat raw just about.
Really?
It's he'd walk in a restaurant, and if he didn't like the way they made it, he'd say, "Go back in the kitchen." You could get away with that in those days. I don't think you could now.
He sounds like my buddy Rick, the 40-year carnivore. He says he went to a party once and they put steak sauce on his steak, and he said he literally took it and sprayed it off with a garden hose and threw it back on the grill. Like, I don't like the way you just cooked my stuff. It sounds like Rick. That's hilarious.
Yeah, and he'd put the meat on the grill, and he'd barely warming up on one side, flip it over. Here, that's the way you do it. That's the way he ate it.
No, that's
But he died very young.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, out on his yacht in California.
Uh-oh, carnivores. Uh-oh. Now I'm curious. This one has been on my mind. What's the first president you voted for? Do you remember?
I can't remember.
My first president I voted for was Obama. I was finally I could my voting age. I voted for Obama.
Mm. I honestly don't remember.
Who's been your favorite president, or have any of them been?
Yeah, there've been some good ones. What the heck's his name? The actor.
Kennedy,
No.
Reagan, Ronald Reagan. I think he was an actor.
Yeah, Reagan.
Reagan.
Yeah. Yeah, Reagan.
Yeah, he's a pretty iconic president. He
Yeah.
really is. Yeah, he still sticks out in a lot of people's minds to this day, Ronald Reagan.
Other than that, and Clinton, of course, is the only one that I know of since I've been around that has went out of office with a balanced budget.
I remember my parents liked Clinton a lot. They said he did a good job. Everybody had pretty good reviews about Clinton. Maybe not some of the stuff he did.
Yeah.
But as far as what he did for his job, when he did his job right, he did it pretty good, I guess.
Yeah, they tried to impeach him too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was a little flamboyant.
Yeah, the ones that are a little flamboyant, and just let's make a prediction. We got, it's like deja vu again. We've got Joe Biden coming up against Trump again, like this never happened before, which it has. But if I was a betting man, I would pick that Trumpster's probably going to get back in my opinion, because every time I see Joe, he's sleeping. He's got his head down. Now, what would your bet be this time around? Do you think Trumpster's getting in, or do you think Joe's going to hold on to his office?
I think Trump has gotten enough people baffled to get in. I heard him on a program, on the phone. It was one of the quips that was on there. Man, that guy cussed Biden out. He used every bad word in the book.
It sounds like Trump.
Yeah.
I do gotta say, man, he is himself no matter what comes the cost. No matter what the repercussion is, he's gonna be who he is. I gotta give him that much credit.
He looks a little worried now, though, with this case that's going on against him. I suppose he should be.
I think they're saying if he gets in, though, it will keep him from getting arrested. So he's...
Yeah.
Who would have thought, man, to keep from getting arrested, you got to become president?
Maybe he can get in and pardon himself.
Hey, there you go. I remember when he got in, he said he bumped into Hillary, and she said, "Pardon me," and he says, "Well, wait till I get signed in first." I thought that was a really good joke. She said, "Pardon me." He says, "Well, I have to get sworn in first, sweetie." Oh, yeah. I don't talk politics much, but it is fun to see, who's your first president you voted for, who's been your favorite one, because it's part of history, it's part of our country.
Right.
Now, JFK, John F. Kennedy, he thought there was UFOs. Do you think there's UFOs out here? Do you think the government's hiding UFOs?
Oh, of course there's UFOs out there.
I remember you said you saw something bright in the sky one night and it just zipped away, right?
Well, I was looking at the horizon and I saw it like over there and it was over there. And there was no stream from the, like it was a floodlight, like you could do it with a floodlight
Mhm.
by flipping it. But it wasn't that fast, fast as you could see, and in miles it might have been 1,000 miles.
Yeah, so there's like no what do we have that could do that? And what year do you think that was?
We lived in Milwaukee at that time over on 33rd Street. I was standing in the backyard.
And it
So
just caught your
I
attention, huh?
Hmm?
And it just caught your attention, this thing
Yeah.
in the
I wasn't looking for anything. I just happened to look up and I saw it.
You guys, I bring that up because pretty much the government started hiding everything since Roswell, and that happened in the 30s. And what year were you born, Grandpa?
30.
30? So you pretty much, his entire life, the government's been lying about spaceships his entire life. And right now, there's a lot of stuff coming out. A lot of stuff is unraveling that they've been doing for years. And I don't know if you know, Gramps, Mexico brought out a couple alien bodies at their congressional hearing.
Well,
Did you see these little guys? They look like they're little tiny guys, man. I mean,
yeah.
I wouldn't be scared of them at any bar. They're little guys. And how they got here, I thought they were gift wrapped and shipped here somewhere. They're so little, they look like they were just gift wrapped and shipped here to our planet. But they're doing x-rays and autopsies and all this testing on them to see if they're real or if someone put these things together. But it's wild, man. If they're real, like, these aliens are actually pretty little, at least the ones we got. And this guy for our government, he's actually saying there's a lot of whistleblowers with a lot of very wild stuff. So I'm hoping Gramps gets to find out, like the rest of us, what's going on with the UFOs in his lifetime. That way it'd be kind of cool to be like, wow, okay. So this was going on the whole time.
Uh-huh.
So it's very interesting what's going on. And Biden's actually going to be signing some legislation that says that whoever has the UFOs, which they know who they are, they know where the locations are, they know what they have, they're on a 6 months notice as soon as he signs this legislation. And if they don't all come forward, they'll have amnesty if they come forward. But if they don't come forward, they're all going to face perjury charges of their country. And that's big time prison for a lot of people. So if they don't want to go in trouble or get in trouble, you got to come out. It's time to come clean.
Uh-huh.
One of these guys, he says, the years of telling us there's nothing to see and you can't look, he says, that's over. He said, if there's nothing to see, let me look. He says, let me look at an empty building then. Let me see it. I like this guy. I don't know what state he's from, but he's a congressman, and he's really tough. And he's like, my daddy was from the greatest generation there was. They fought this war. And he says he wouldn't put up with this daggone nonsense for a second. I was like, woo, I like this guy, man. I like him. It's interesting. So I like to bring that in there. Now, when you were in the service, did you see any Foo Fighters? They used to call them Foo Fighters during the World War. They would see UFOs traveling and with our airplanes and stuff, you know, to keep an eye on us. Never saw a Foo Fighter?
No.
Yeah, I saw one. Well, we've seen a couple cool things, but the closest one was in Milwaukee. It was like an orange volleyball that came down in the backyard when I was cutting grass, and it was bouncing all over above the yard, and then it just shot off. It was the coolest thing. I was cutting grass, man, like about 5, 6 o'clock, and I was like, what the heck is going on? And that's before I tried any drugs, folks. That was that was before I tried anything. And I'm sure you weren't on drugs when you saw your UFO. You were just in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Now you used to do some drinking, right?
Oh, yeah.
What was your favorite drink? I think you it was a brandy old fashioned, right? Or was that just one of them?
Yeah, brandy old fashioned. Never drank much beer.
No.
Oh. But I drank enough of the other stuff.
Now, if you could give everybody's the world some advice, you know, to leave everybody with, what would be your advice for people, you know, out here in the world? What's on your heart?
Very simple. Do what you like. and you'll be content.
It's a good message. And you guys, Gramps has had a very fun life, and he's still having fun. We're hanging out, we're watching pay-per-views, we're eating steak. He's a great-grandfather now. How does it feel to be a great-grandfather? I think that's an important question for William to watch back.
Well, that's good. I'm glad I'm able to participate.
Isn't that wild to see not only your kids grow up, and then them to have kids, and then that kid's kid? How does that feel? Is that like surreal almost?
I was in the hall the other day, and I don't know, Doden's, my neighbor, he said something, and I forget what I answered him, but anyway, I didn't know how old he was, but I had mentioned my age, 93. And he said, 20 years yet? I said, what? He says, I'm 73.
Buckle up, man.
Yeah.
Buckle up. I feel like people are doing a little bit better these days. I know there's still a lot of work to go with, people's health, but I feel like they last a little longer than they did.
Healthier longer, yeah.
Yeah.
And the government's taking advantage of that up to Social Security.
Bunch of dirty dogs.
To get it.
You guys, the government's just it's always in there, man.
They're right there with their hand in the pocket.
Now we're watching wrestling. When did you start watching wrestling? Because I remember you used to watch all the old schoolers, right?
Many years ago. I guess since TV. Since back in the 50s.
Who was your favorite that you first saw on the TV? Was it the Gorilla Monsoon, or who was it?
Bird Gagne used to be a lot. I don't know who. And there were the Shawn brothers.
Yep.
Mad Dog and Butcher.
Then the Von Erichs.
Von Erichs, they all killed themselves.
They were good though. I don't know what they had going on in their family.
At the top.
Yeah, I don't. They had some bad mental health issues.
I think there's one left, isn't there?
Yeah. And I think it probably doesn't help, when you're slamming your head on the mat all the time. And
No. But I think there were 4 or 5 of them.
yeah, there was a bunch of Von Erichs. Mark Henry, the wrestler, world's strongest man, you guys should look him up. His favorite wrestlers, he said him and his grandma would love to watch the Von Erichs.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, nowadays we're watching NXT and WWE and AEW. Who's your favorite wrestler nowadays that you get a kick out of watching?
Oh, I like to watch Cody.
Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
I loved his dad, Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah.
He could drop elbows right on someone's forehead and split it open in a second. Just he knew right where to hit with the elbow, and it just split.
You always say, "Where's the money?"
Yeah, I never thought America would fall in love with a blonde-haired, blue-eyed boy like me, but boy, they sure did. I loved his accent. He was really good. But who else besides Cody nowadays are you into?
Cody, Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins? Seth freaking Rollins.
Freaking Rollins, his wife, the man.
Becky Lynch, the man.
Yeah, and I don't like that bunch with what's her name, the champ.
Roman?
No, the woman.
Rhea Ripley in
Rhea,
the Judgment Day.
I liked her when she was a wrestler, but since she turned, when she got in this group, she kind of turns me around.
She likes to play with the boys, though.
Yeah.
I've never seen a woman wrestler that's beat up more men than Rhea Ripley.
Right.
And now Nia Jax has come back, which is The Rock's, one of The Rock's cousins. And she is meaner than ever, and she's a damn big girl, and she just throws these girls around like rag dolls.
It looked like they did some retraining on her, and she lost a bunch of weight, I think.
She's better than ever. I'm glad they brought her back.
Oh, she's she better stop her pretty soon. She's killing a lot of the.
They'll have no roster.
To wrestle.
Yeah. No, she's pretty mean. What about Roman Reigns? What do you think about Roman Reigns? He says he's the greatest of all time now.
No, he's the greatest bullshitter of all.
That guy has cheated more times to keep his belt than I think I've ever seen in my life.
Anybody can hold a title if they don't wrestle.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah. That's easy then. If you don't have to defend it, you get you win for another week.
Yeah.
My favorite wrestler has been Ric Flair and Sting. Those are my
good, yeah.
And they used to wrestle each other back in the day. And Sting actually looked up to Ric Flair. And he asked Rick if he could do the woo. And Rick gave him permission to do the woo.
Oh.
And I remember Sting, he would do the Stinger Splash. And before he would do this, he would throw the guy into the corner, and then he would jump on him, you know, with the clothesline. Mm-hmm. But before he'd do it, he put his hands over his mouth. He goes, woo! And then he would do the Stinger Splash, and he'd paint his face. And Sting actually got his gimmick from the movie called The Crow.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and Steve Hall gave him that, and he was like, dude, you should take a play off of this movie, The Crow, and paint your face. But Ric Flair has always been my favorite. He's just like you, man. He's one of these guys who just keeps on ticking. He's living life. He's loving it. Ric Flair just had a match like a couple months ago, and he says it was his 8th match that he said is his last match.
Oh, yeah?
I swear, he's had at least 8 of these now where he's like the final match.
My 8th last match.
Yeah, and then he has the match, and then again, like 6 months later, my final match. I'm like, this guy cannot give it up. And I saw it. He did really good. It was him and Andrade fighting. Oh man, I forgot the other 2 guys, but it was a battle, man, and they were just mollywopping each other because Ric Flair is known for the chop. He slaps the chest. So I always like, and then he was on WCW when I was a kid, and his face was always red. And I used to think as a kid, how is this guy alive? I said, isn't he going to have a heart attack? He just wouldn't calm down. He was just, woo, woo, woo. Yeah. And he's still doing it. I mean, and his Charlotte Flair, his daughter, what do you think about Charlotte?
Charlotte, I like Charlotte.
She's good, isn't she?
Yeah. She's a good chip.
Way to, take after Dad's footsteps, and it's amazing.
She's good, but she's not quite as dirty as he was.
No. She does get dirty, though.
Oh, yeah.
She's got the most belts for a female right now.
Yeah.
Nobody's touching her, man. Like, when she wants a belt, she takes it. She's got her dad's attitude, like, that's mine. Yeah, it was, it's good. So me and my Gramps always got along with, we've always talked wrestling and stuff. What's your favorite football team, Gramps?
The Packers. I watch them. That's about the only one I watch. I don't even follow the rest of them.
Well, I know you do once in a while because you get in these pools.
Oh yeah, and there it is. It doesn't matter who wins. I'm looking at the numbers.
The numbers. And Gramps does pretty good in the pools when he does them.
Yeah, not bad.
What do you think about this? Excuse me, sorry. What do you think about this new quarterback we got for the Packers, Jordan Love?
He's got a little to learn.
Yeah, he's got some work to do.
You know what should have happened? They should have played him more when the other dude was there.
Rodgers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Give him some more experience.
Sure.
Do you remember?
You can't learn if they don't let you play.
No, that's very true. Do you remember Vince Lombardi? Did you ever watch him on TV when he was coaching? I've never got to see Vince Lombardi live, just old clips of him, and he seems like an interesting guy.
Yeah, in fact, he was coach when I went to one game in Green Bay. That's because when I had a paper route, got the most new customers, so I won some perks. And part of the perks was a trip to Green Bay and see the Green Bay Packers play. And then all the burgers I could eat was when we got back.
And speaking of burgers, you took me to a place called Solly's.
Yep.
And could you just talk to us a second about Solly's? Why is Solly's? They know Solly's around the country. It's famous on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
Because of why?
Because of the butter burger.
The butter burgers. They put so much butter that it runs down your arm. And it's funny. People who watch these videos, they're all like, oh my gosh, these guys are going to have a heart attack. And it's funny, there was a guy on Fox 6, our local news. He was inside of Solly's, and he made the news because he eats breakfast, lunch, and dinner there every day. And he's healthy as a horse. And people couldn't imagine. They're like, well, how is this guy healthy? Well, now that I'm on Carnivore, he was eating eggs, bacon, steak, burger patties, all of it drenched in butter.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, well, how is he still alive? Well, now that I'm on Carnivore, I'm like, oh man, that guy actually wasn't crazy. He was crazy like a fox.
Yeah.
He went to a place where he knew he could get more fat in his diet than anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And one of these days, guys, me and Gramps, I was thinking, if you're up for it, we should go to Solly's and show them what Solly's looks like and get a nice burger.
Sure.
I'll get mine without a bun. I'll just get the patties. And I really want to show them how much butter they put on there. I'm sure they would allow me to show the camera in there because they've had a bunch of people filming there. But they literally put so much butter on every single person's burger. It's just drenched in butter. That's the thing. They probably buy more butter than they buy patties there.
Yeah, I suppose. It's hard to find the time. Around noontime, though, the place is so crowded that, well, you remember, you got to stand around and wait to get
You got to watch other people eat.
Yeah.
It is so uncomfortable when you're hungry and you're sitting there watching people eat all these butter burgers. And they don't want to get up until they're done.
No.
Because they got a seat. It's one of those places where you got a seat. Sucks for the guy who doesn't, because I'm sitting here till I'm done eating.
Mm-hmm.
But Solly's, we're going to take you guys to Solly's, and that's going to be a fun one to go to. It's iconic, and it's got the butter burgers, the most butter I think you're ever going to see anywhere. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. And yeah, lately too, my parents moved out to West Bend, so we've been having some family parties out by the pond. So that's nice, isn't it, now to go hang out with the family by the bass pond, and it's nice. Now, did you ever have pets growing up?
Yeah, well, I had a dog.
Do you remember what type of dog it was?
Hound.
A hound?
Yeah.
Now, you said didn't it eat a lot of powdered milk that your dad would bring home?
Well, that was during the war, and the Second War, and everybody in town just about had to have work for the government. So my dad had to work for a powdered milk plant, and they made all the powdered milk for the service. And up on the roof, the blowers would always take some up there and it would pile up. So he'd go up and shovel tins full of it, and they used to sell it for cattle feeding and stuff. And he'd always bring it home, and my dog was fat as a hog on milk.
And he got scraps too once in a while, right?
Oh, he was in trouble all the time. If the cops called, I knew who it was. Penny bit somebody again.
Oh, he was a little bit of a biter, huh?
Oh, he bit me, I don't know how many times.
That's right. You said he only liked your mother, right?
Yeah, she could do anything to him. I couldn't do nothing with him.
Isn't that weird how an animal just picks that? He's just like, you're fine, but the rest of you, back off. Yeah, you guys, look at this. We killed our ribeye. If you guys are wondering, look at the drip on that. This is just the bone. This is the bone that's left. We ate it all. So you guys are wondering, Grandpa has had his his ribeye. He's had his real salt.
Mm.
And I've asked you, I can't even think of something else to ask you. I'm trying to think here. I asked you what your first president you voted for, first car. I can't really think of anything else. I'm sure there's a million things I could ask. I'm just not thinking of them. What's your favorite vacation you ever went on? That's right, because you went traveling. You and Grandma would travel once in a while. Where was your favorite place to travel to?
I think one of the favorite ones was San Francisco.
What was your favorite thing about there?
I like San Francisco, and when you go across the bridge to Sausalito,
Sausalito.
and they had a bunch of restaurants there and stuff, and out in the bay there, they had like houseboats, and people would live out there. And I had a friend that lived on a houseboat out there, and one time he was along, and he says, "I'm going to go look for my friend," and it's a kind of knit community. I don't know what they did, or nothing, I guess. But nobody would tell where he was. They thought he was like, because we had suits on, and they were looking for I forget what his name was.
They thought you were working for the government or something.
Yeah.
No, they weren't going to tell you nothing.
And this guy was a grandson of Harley Davidson, but he had a cement boat. It's,
Really?
yeah, a boat made out of cement.
You'd figured it would sink right to the bottom,
Yeah,
right?
you would, but ferrous cement, yeah.
You told me about a guy who tried to make some weird contraption boat where he took like 6 different boats and like put them together, and it fell apart on the lake or something when they.
Oh no, they had.
What was that?
There was a guy down there. He was building a boat for about 10 years, and on the south side, and there was like a pontoon. It was like a pontoon, big pontoon on the bottom, and it was very high. It had wings on it, and it had an airplane engine, and they finally one day anyway they said they were going to christen it, and they had the priest there and everybody, and there were a lot of people there, and what happened, they put the thing in the water, and well, at first it didn't float very good because it's so damn top heavy. It wanted to. So anyway, and the motor wouldn't start, and so the whole thing was to fizzle. And finally, anyway, I guess they took it apart and just dismantled it. But that guy worked on that for about 10 years, building it up, and it was really a monstrosity. And when we went to look at it that day, we were jumping from boat to boat, and we had to cross the Hell's Angels boat, and they kind of gave us a dirty look.
They didn't like that, huh?
They didn't like us.
And I remember this story that Lynn talks about, where Lynn is your niece, right?
Yeah.
And she says that there was a snake that was about to bite her or something, and you threw a knife right into it.
I did.
Yeah, she said you were like Crocodile Dundee, and she said she just fell in love with you that day. She's like, wow, my superhero.
I don't even remember it.
Yeah, you guys, Gramps he's done a lot of fun stuff, man, including saving little kids from snakes. And then the Oshkosh Air Show, Gramps, that's something me and Gramps would do. We haven't done it for a while because it is a ton of walking. If anybody's familiar with the Oshkosh Air Show here in Wisconsin, it is a huge show where they have like every type of airplane. And I remember one year me and you went they had that big Russian jumbo jet that had 2 stories. And we saw this thing coming and land and then take off. I mean, it's like how they even got that thing off the ground.
Right.
Is amazing. In that same show, this guy said he was trying to make a helicopter that could fly upside down because apparently they don't do well upside down. They crash. And he said he had to lie to get some parts from the government. He had to lie and said what he was making, but he said when he put it together, the government liked it so much they bought it from him. So I always enjoyed seeing the air shows with you. That was a good one. We even saw a Corvette race a helicopter, and that was fun.
Yeah, there were some good shows.
And they had all the old military planes there from like the war, and you could see all the names written on them, and like it was cool back in the war. They would paint like the shark faces on the front, you know, with the teeth and stuff. Like they don't do
Flying
that.
tigers.
Yeah, flying tigers. Ooh, I love that tiger. Flying tigers. See, I never heard of that. And they don't do that much anymore. They don't really get into their vehicle like they used to. You know, they used to really love their aircraft. That was their aircraft, and they customized it, kind of.
Paint it all up.
Yeah, now I feel like... Was that allowed with the government then? They just didn't mind if you put paint on your...
I guess they figured it'd give them some morale, and I sure it did.
It did, yeah.
Maybe they put a stop to it, because like anything, you know, somebody will complain about what you do.
Yeah, someone's having fun. Let's shut this down, you know.
And on the planes, they always painted a little plane if they downed another plane.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you look at the side of the fuselage there.
To see how many they knocked down?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's badass. I like that. Yeah, we went to the air show and we even took a cart where they drove you around the whole thing, and we couldn't even see the whole thing on cart. We were like, take us back. There was just, it literally went on for miles. There was just so many planes, and some of these were like tractor engines with kites attached to them. You couldn't make this up. They literally took like a one of those glider kites that you just grab onto and jump like off a cliff, you know, and it glides you. They would literally attach like a lawnmower engine to that. I'm like, are you guys crazy? What is this thing? You don't actually go in the air with this, right? Like, goodness gracious. We seen some wild aircraft at that air show. I always enjoyed the air show.
The one I liked best was an old one. It was from, and it was in the Popular Mechanics magazine in about 46. They called it Aero Coupe. It was a car. You could land it. It had 4 wheels. You could land it on the road, fold up the wings, and then drive away like a car.
Really?
And they had 2 of them there that year we had. I don't know if you remember them.
I do remember that a little bit.
They had a kind of a boxy fuselage where I think it held 4 people.
They don't make stuff like that no more.
No.
It's like they just poo-poo that stuff now. I don't know there just seems to be less creativity. Even with the cars, do you think now, like, back in the day, all the car brands were different. You could tell a Pontiac versus a Cadillac.
Right.
But now it's like they're all just cheating off each other's paper and everything looks the same.
Yeah, you got to look at the emblem. Who are you?
Yeah, because they all look the same.
Right.
They all look, there's no originality anymore like there used to be.
You can look at a Mercedes or a Ford and it all looks...
See, now, that wasn't even I was born in 89, so that wasn't even my time, the 60s, 70s, but I can look in those car books and tell, like, wow, like, they really sat there and they drew out a design and they went for it. And unlike today, they're just like, well, what's Ford doing? And Ford says, well, what's Chevy doing? So boring. Yeah, and you guys, he's also, for the time being, he's my landlord, and eventually we're going to be buying this house from Grandpa. But he's been my landlord, he's been my boss, he's been my grandfather. He's helped me with a lot of stuff, you guys, and I really appreciate him. I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for Gramps. So, you guys.
I'm sure you would.
Oh, sheesh, man. I'd probably still be in Milwaukee or dead right now, man. I'm telling you. My Gramps allowed me to move out here, man, and it helped me get out of that lifestyle I was in Milwaukee. So I do appreciate Grandpa. Everybody give Gramps a big thumbs up. We had a great conversation here. I can't think of any more stuff I could ask you. It was a fun conversation, man. I learned actually some new stuff about you too today.
We'll come up with some more yet. There's all kinds of stuff that's buried away.
Yeah. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. You guys said you wanted some more stuff that wasn't just about food. He's doing keto now, like we mentioned in the beginning. He's happy, he's healthy, we're having fun. We're about to watch a wrestling pay-per-view. I think it's called Fastlane tonight. So
yes.
that should be interesting.
Yes.
And and then for people who don't know, we had a little bit of a scare with some people trying to break in the house the other night, but Gramps, he wanted to come right over, and we surveyed the property, and he was checking out to see if there's any damage. He's a good guy, he's a brave guy, and I'm glad to have him. He's only like 2 blocks down the street from me. We literally live on the same street, just opposite ends of town. We both live on Main Street, so it's kind of nice. But you guys, that's this interview. I had a blast. You want to give him a wave bye? See you guys.